Good morning, Gers TV. Got Ryan today, and we're going to talk all things Rangers general meeting. It wasn't an annual general meeting; it was just a general meeting. How's things, mate?
I'm still pissed off from the weekend. I'm not going to lie to you. But I want to Tuesday now, mate. So you're meant to, by Tuesday you're meant to be back in a good mood and looking forward to the next Rangers game. But I'll be honest with you, I'm still a bit hacked off for the weekend.
Aye, it's been a hard few weeks. Especially, I think it's because we built ourselves up so much. I don't think that helped.
Yeah, I mean, I on the way to the game, anyone I spoke to, I was kind of using words like the honeymoon period being over. I didn't want to use the term must-win game, but I kind of said, look, we can't lose this today. The season has to start today for us. We're late to the party again, but we need to make sure that we make a victory. I'd obviously said to you as well that we had to make Ibrox a fortress and make sure that we win all 19 home games to give ourselves a good chance to win the league. And we've fallen at the first hurdle, which for me is unacceptable.
And performance-wise as well. I forgot to ask you, met Big Colin, the ballet bear?
I grabbed him. I see he was standing with his flag. I was overseeing my mate at the other end of the club deck. I clocked him with the flag and I just said, look, he obviously didn't know I was just a voice that day.
That's right.
So I said, I was the boy that was talking his eye. So he looked as if he was enjoying himself, if you know what I mean.
Aye, well, I think he had a few share bits just to numb the pain of that game. Probably helped him.
Absolutely.
Aye,
that's what I mean by it.
Aye, and I think that's what everybody feels in it. It's pain. There's very little enjoyment watching the football now, but they've had a general meeting yesterday. 600 people are it, is that right? I think you said that. Aye, 600 shareholders are it. Various reports on it, and what I'm going to do is pick 5 points of it and just go over that for you, with you for 20 minutes. Sure. Keep it short and sweet, mate, and get your opinions on it. So, first point is probably the most important one. 5 prominent signings before the transfer window is over. That's what the chairman's telling us. So, not the chairman, sorry, the owners are telling us. 5 signings. So, what do you make of that?
I mean, yeah, it's very obvious that it's required. A minimum of 5, if I'm being honest with you, Si. I still think, we're short of a cover at left back. We know what our problems are at right back, which for me is absolutely vital because we've known for at least 1 year that James Tavernier was going to be leaving the club. So we should have had an abundant list of right back targets that we should have had. So that needs to be a question about why we've left ourselves so short in that department. We're obviously still after another left winger. We're still lacking that creative spark that McInnes had indicated that he was missing as well. So at least 5 players I think there, but in the same token, I think we actually do need to get 5 outgoings as well. We need to have 5 sales as well as 5 purchases. So there's still people that are hanging about the squad that for me are doing nothing but stealing a wage office at this moment in time.
One thing I will say though is it does look like business could be done in the next day or two. The Aston Villa one, the boy for Aston Villa, I can't remember his name now, could be interesting. That's a right back. We're looking at I think it's a right winger from PSV. Is he right wing? I
think he could play almost anywhere across the front three. So I think he's pretty versatile, which is good.
But that bid's been knocked back. I would be really looking to maybe, and I'd go back into a better bid for that because we need him as soon as possible. Quicker we can get him. Even if he's cup tied and anything like that, we need players in the squad because what we've realised, Ryan, is a lot of these players are taking time to adapt, and that's not a new thing with Rangers. So we need to address that quick.
Yeah. I mean, I think we embarrassed ourselves a little bit, Si, with the Dow signing. He probably came out and said he wanted to come to Rangers. The Dow one wasn't a new name.
Yeah.
At the start of this summer window, is somebody who we've been with
a few years.
Yep. So he's not a new name. By all accounts, he's made it publicly known that he wants to sign for us and stuff. So he's basically put a transfer request in, more or less. So the fact that was slipped through our fingers for the sake of a couple of £1 million for me is a little bit embarrassing. So we can't do it with this one. If we're like to the guy, I'm hoping that we're not the leverage for him to go to Celta Vigo. I hope Celta Vigo's the leverage for him to come to us because obviously with the move to the north of Spain there. So we just need to get this done. I said to a couple of my pals that in the days of Davy Murray, everyone's got their opinion in Davy Murray and his time with us, but one thing you can't say is that when the money needed to go down, the checkbook needed to go home. He was more than willing to do it for us. So let's just get this done. Let's get this guy over here. Let's get his medical done and actually see if there's any possibility we can get him into the squad for Thursday night.
I mean, the crazy thing about it, and it's hindsight, yeah, but the crazy thing about it, haggling there a couple of million, and then they go and play Shinmiti at the weekend when they get a £22 million bid in from them. Who thinks that's a good idea? I don't know. And Diamondi as well. They not so big a bid, but they played Diamondi, two players that we could have shipped out this week.
Aye, I think one of the kind of the rumours that's coming out from this AGM yesterday, or general shareholder meeting, whatever they want to call it, is that they're aiming towards £40 million for use of Trinity. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that guy's ever going to be worth 40 million. Nobody's paying, and at this current time, nobody's ever going to part with £40 million to get a player out of Scottish football. I mean, he's not even lighting the header in fire in Scottish football. See if he was going out there and banging in 50 goals a season or something like, you could turn around and say, aye, let's be honest, man, the guy's hitting a miss. He's dead average. I would argue the fact that Dessers was a better player than, Morelos was a far better player than Yusuf Trimiti. We were never asking for £40 million for Morelos.
Morelos was deadly. It was deadly in front of goal. Dessers was a goal scorer. That's the thing with a goal scorer, is you want him to score goals. It should be obvious.
But Dessers is a bit older and stuff. Obviously, Dessers came to us, just at the start of his days. Morelos was prime candidate. I mean, obviously questions over his temperament and stuff like that. But with £25 million, you've got to be realistic. You build things into the deal to say, right, well, we think he's probably going to be a £40 million football player. Can we get a 30-35% selling fee? We're actually looking for £40 million for this guy, but we'll be realistic. We'll take the 25, but we'll build it in. If he ever, if he gets his cap for Portugal, we want money for it. If he ends up getting moves there, it's loaded to get that we might actually end up getting 30, whatever it's going to be at some point in the future. Across the road, they're famous for it with their selling fees. They made money off that boy Frimpong when he went to Liverpool. Van Dijk's another famous one. Why can we not? Look, I don't know. The whole thing is, don't compare yourself to them. But see if there's a successful business model, you can see it right in your face.
Use it.
It's madness. He should have been in the back of a car yesterday, shoved up to Glasgow airport and said, mate, thanks for all your time and everything you've done for us. Cheerio.
I don't know the update on it. Has there been any update on the actual injury?
There was something to follow last night that apparently it's only looking like a 2-week injury, which would be nothing short of a miracle. And I think we should take that. If it is only a 2-week injury, he's going to be back before the transfer window. I think the Turkish transfer window was different from ours anyway. But right. I think we take this as a yellow card and say, look, this is what can happen if you don't do it.
Aye, get a price that you're going to be happy with. I mean, 25 million, go with that or something. As you say, get the add-on fees on it and then get another striker in, because I think we just need a goal poacher. Somebody that basically does it, what it says in the tin, scores goals.
But there's no reason to keep this guy. There's no reason whatsoever. We've got a huge out. It's not as if you can turn around and say, "Oh, we didn't cost as much." We've got a huge outlay for him in the financial fair play.
That's right.
So we'll get that out for him. There's no chemistry between him and Shankland at all. So you can't turn around and say that we're keeping him for football reasons. He's not scoring goals. He's now picked up this. So there is absolutely no reason whatsoever that this guy should be getting held onto by our football club.
I would even at the weekend. I've made this point. People disagreed with it, which is fine, but I made the point at the weekend I would have been starting with Miovski and Shankland up front with the two wingers, just to give. I think Miovski's more natural goal scorer, and that protects the fact that we've got an investment of possible 25 million to sell. But Miovski wasn't even on the bench; he was in the stand. So I really don't know the think behind that.
Apparently, there's a bid been accepted for him, so we'll probably find out more about that this week there. But
that's two strikers away, if that's the case.
If you're Bojan Miovski, it's a right kick in the nuts for him, is it not? Because as much as Nadiri's come in, he's doing okay. Nadiri's been plucked out of the third division of German football. I know that it's always going to be a stick that we're going to beat him with, but at the end of the day, Bojan Miovski is an established international striker. He's a North Macedonian international. He scored goals in Scotland. He's probably picking up a far better wage than what Nadiri's picking up as well. But all of a sudden, he's his fourth choice striker. You would understand if he's pretty pissed off at this moment in time, much like ourselves. But anyway,
it's crazy to think that we've got a player like that. When we signed him, we thought he was going to be a revelation, and he's never really not had that many chances. I mean, he has had him, he's not took him. I agree with that, but it might just be a case of getting the right combination. I don't see Ryan Naderi as a first team start, to be honest.
I mean, Naderi's going to be a work in progress, and there's an element of romance behind the Naderi signing. There's a bit of a Roy of the Rovers element to it. And we all hope it works out for stuff. And you can see that boy's applied himself to the job as well. He's filled out. He's obviously applied himself to his physical side of his game. I don't think the kid's a bad player. but there's not much credit in the bank for him compared to somebody like Majowski. Obviously, we realise how much authority Majowski used to give us when he played for Aberdeen and stuff. So,
yeah, and
I think it's just the kind of seniority side of things that really Majowski should be ahead of in the squad.
yeah, no, I'd agree with that. One of the other points that was made on the meeting yesterday was stadium expansion by lowering the pitch. What's your thoughts on that? Rangers have spoken about this for a while, and I know for a fact that they've got experts in looking at it.
Madness, madness. Like, how much money is that going to cost us to do it? Now, I think as well, as far as I know, is that if they actually go down this route, obviously the drainage is going to get redone, and the soil heating's all got to get redone. There's massive development within the stadium there. You're getting decanted over to Hampden for a year to make this happen. So we can't even get our home form together at Ibrox. Never mind try to get a home form together at Hampden.
The thought of going back to Hampden for a year, for even 3-4 weeks, would be a killer for me. I just thought the whole time was a shit show. From the match day experience to everything, the unsettlement. I can't think of anybody. There was no advantage to it, put it that way.
It was obviously an absolute shambles at the time, and hopefully this, we'll try and forget about it. But at the end of the day, for me, there's absolutely no point in expanding the stadium until you get a half-decent football team in the park. Because when Rangers aren't playing well, you can't sell the seats. How many times over social media and how many times with ourselves, like, I've got a ticket for the weekend, just take it. And I regularly see guys when Rangers aren't playing well, they're just going up to the turnstile and they're just buzzing cards in and turning the turnstiles around to get their Myers points.
They're so used to the disappointment.
So
and that's a lot of guys that travel. People travelling a big distance just to go to the pub.
Aye, really. And what's the point in spending all this money and all this, disruption and stuff like that to do it, to get the stadium there, to put a shite football team in the park that nobody wants to watch? You have to get the football team right first.
I think you're right with the football team, but I would be looking at the stadium. I'd be expanding areas outside the stadium. And the other thing I've seen the last couple of days, which I really agree with, is the stadium really needs a good sprucing up, a real good clean, and a bit of effort in it. I'd be spending money on looking after Ibrox as it is just now, and the outgoing areas, make the match the experience better.
I actually said the exact same thing to my pal the other side at the weekend, and I was standing talking to him. We're just looking and just like, man, that needs a power wash. Like that it's no hard to do these things. Like somebody needs to get up there and it's there. And I don't want to say too much about it because obviously we're hoping ourselves up for a slagging from the other side and stuff like that. But I don't think we're maintaining our facilities as well as what we should do.
I think they're too high off the ball a wee bit. I think what they're doing is they're looking after the corporate side of it very well. I think that's the problem.
It's nothing new there, is it?
Yeah. But that's just going with the feedback I've seen with people on the social media. I'm in the main stone, to be fair. I don't really experience that. The next one I'm going to talk about, I think it was quite poor wording the way it was phrased, and it's maybe opened myself up to the media have a go at Rangers after that result. The comment that McInnes is branded a Klopp-type manager. What's your thoughts on that?
I think for me, it's something I'd rather he hadn't said. I think that's something that should be discussed indoors, behind the scenes within the boardroom and stuff. That's something that certain individuals would just latch on to there. Jurgen Klopp's a great manager. He's well respected within world football and stuff. Derek McInnes is, as much as I respect the guy, I love the guy, but you're comparing them there. It's like turning around and saying the use of Chermiti is like a Messi style striker. You've got to be very careful when you're comparing guys to the elite within that.
I would have turned around and said that he's a Derek McInnes type manager, and that's the guy we wanted. We've got the guy we wanted. It's going to take time. We appreciate there's a problem just now, and he's a fan as well as a player, so he understands that and he'll get it better. But when you start comparing them, it's a real problem, because if we win that game at the weekend, comparing them, people laugh and joke it off, but the media use it as a stick to hit us with now.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the VAR at the weekend? That's the last point that was mentioned on it. Rangers have came out and said that they're going to speak to the officials in private. It doesn't always need to be public. My own opinion on it, I'll speak about it more through the week. My own opinion about that is if you're going to do it in private, you as well no bother them. We've done that for 30, 40 years. It just doesn't work.
Well, I think the whole thing about VAR is it's private side. I think that's the whole thing. I mean, were you at the game in the weekend? You managed to, yeah. I mean,
I was at the game, but I had no idea what went on. 2.5 minutes after an instant.
Do you know what's happening? I didn't know what's happening, right? We're up in the stands. We're the paying customer, right? And no disrespect to anyone who watched at home. They're more informed than what we are, or what's actually going on. Every single player that was on the park, with the exception of 2 goalkeepers, is standing behind the referee, looking to see what's he looking at, because nobody knew what was going on. So it's the actual product of VAR itself. VAR is there to fix clear and obvious errors in instances where referees were embarrassing themselves. Like Henry's handball against France, Lampard's goal against Germany, the three yellow cards that Graham Poll gave to somebody in a World Cup game and stuff like that. It's there to stop the referees making very clear and obvious and catastrophic errors, right? A wee scuffle in the box and stuff like that nobody even claimed for is not a clear and obvious error, right?
Also, the argument I would give was, if it was clear and obvious, why would it take 2.5 minutes to decide it?
Exactly. So, because he's taken himself 2.5 minutes to try and find it, to give the penalty, because he's looking for something, right? But see if it's clear and obvious, and that's the benchmark that's been set. See when Diamande gets dragged down in the last minute from when they run up and park there, the Hib striker's fallen to the ground. He's grabbed onto Diamande's right arm, brought Diamande to the ground. Now, it's soft, but it's a foul nonetheless. Our player has been taken to the ground, right? All right, he was off balance when he was taken to the ground, but he's still been taken to the ground by their player. That should be pulled back in a free kick. Why is Mr. McDermott sitting in his wee room and trying to justify giving penalties Ibs? If he wants to justify his salary that day, he needs to be looking at this and actually saying, by the way, there's a foul and they're up to that. And he doesn't necessarily need to make the decision for the referee. He just needs to draw his attention, because Don Robertson was actually on the wrong side of it. So Don Robertson's standing to the Hib striker's his left hand side, so he's actually blindsided from the actual instant with his arms being grabbed. He probably didn't see that because he didn't have a good angle of it. So he just said, Don, actually, listen, you're standing on the wrong side of that. Do you actually realise that Diamande's arm was grabbed to the floor? I'm just going to put it on the screen here so you can have a look at it. I'm not telling you to disallow the goal, but I'm just going to give you a better angle of what you actually see there, because you might have missed something here. That's it. Yeah. And it's clear and obvious that it should have been cut off. So it's the whole thing with it is just crap. And it's something, we spoke about the Shankland handball at numerous parts throughout last season, how that should have been brought back and stuff. We're probably going to be talking about this incident for this whole season and stuff. The whole thing with it is it's just crap. And
it set Rangers back.
Well, we're now at a situation side there where if that's now the barometer and that's now regarded as a penalty kick, how many penalties are we going to see now? I would probably say you actually now switch to zonal marking. You actually say, I'm not going to go man for man with anybody, because as soon as I start tussling my guy, I'm risking going to give a penalty kick. We're just going to go zonal marking. We're just going to create boxes to clear the ball. And the only person that's going to come out and try and challenge for the ball is going to be the goalkeeper, because he's super protected anyway. And I would just be telling Pandora to just come out for absolutely everything.
That's only if it's consistent. And my biggest fear is the VAR system doesn't seem to be consistent for me. My own opinion of it, I think Rangers should come out all guns blazing. They should have done it 2 or 3 years ago. And I think the club should be leading with the narrative, killing this narrative that it's just poor refereeing and it's bad refereeing standards and bad VAR, they're not good enough. The reason I'm saying that, they would genuinely believe that VAR's going to go back 2.5 minutes to find a reason to award a penalty against Celtic in a game. Well, if they did, their life would be made hell for months. They just simply wouldn't do it, but they can do that against Rangers. And until we change that narrative, it's going to continue. This won't stop. I agree with you saying it should be the same rule for everyone now. This new rule coming in for this SFA, SPFL, but it won't be. That's the problem.
The thing about it is, if the club don't want to do it publicly themselves in their own name, there's a certain club that puts friends into the media and they've got plenty to say on behalf of their club, and it's done in an unofficial way. But it seems to get the same impact as if it was the club themselves. So why are we not doing the same thing?
So Rangers have got lots of fan media, for an example. They could do that. It's incredible that a club the size of Rangers is so weak, and the idea that they're going to do it in private, was that not what the last regime done? Is that not what the regime done before it? And the regime before that, right up to the early 80s, I can think Rangers have always done things in private, and we get no answers. So if you're not getting any answers, change it. But the biggest thing for me is for the Americans. I'm surprised at them allowing it, because you're looking at the fact that it's costing them millions. They're in this for the money. It's costing them millions of pounds, these decisions.
It's a fear of punishment, Simon, retaliation from the other side, because the more you complain about it, the worse it gets. That's the truth of it as well. You can't, if you make a complaint about it, you're the guy. Obviously, we see what's happening with McGuinness. McGuinness has got a 4-game ban hanging over him now. They don't actually address the problem itself. The problem itself is that the refereeing is so poor, and the quality of refereeing is so poor. But if you make a complaint about it, Michael Stewart, not a fan, but he's banned for Hampden because he was making a complaint about it. Derek McGuinness has got a ban hanging over him. Elliot Watt got banned because he had to go at it.
So one of the things they could do is before every game and after every game, no matter the result, they could continue the line. that. We want to see consistent, impartial refereeing. We want a better. We're looking for something like that. We're looking for an impartial refereeing and VAR system, and we're hoping it's going to get better in the next by the end of the season. Something like that, putting the pressure on them. I know that's what Jim Gillespie's saying that they're doing in private, but it should be highlighting the fact that we want it. We want it to be balanced, and we want a strong referee. Is a classic example of what they say. The other side of the city, we're looking for a strong referee today. Well, Rangers should be looking for a strong referee and a strong VAR system. And until they put that pressure on, I don't see it changing. I really don't.
To be honest, I would just be in favour. See if you can't get VAR right, just get.
I'd get rid of it. I didn't want it in the first place.
Aye. I would listen. I was an advocate of it. I actually think it's quite a good thing if it's used properly. Because there is certain things that the speed of the game. You look at some of these guys that referees and stuff like. Do you know how's a referee meant to chase after killing Mbappe, for example? No, that's obviously top level football.
Yeah.
But it is needed at the top level because you are talking about millions and millions of pounds, but you never see the categorical efforts at the top level that you see at our level. We're Mickey Mouse, man, compared to.
I think the argument for VAR in terms of the proper argument for having proper VAR, it's a great argument. Online goal line technology and things like that, I don't have a problem with it. But when it's put into to benefit one club and one club only, and it benefits one club and one club only, then we're just paying money for something that doesn't increase it certainly doesn't increase the fan match day experience for the fan, because you're sitting there for 4 or 5 minutes waiting for a decision that you already know. When that get back to the VAR, as soon as it went back into that check, you knew right away that was going to be a penalty. Nobody knew why, but you knew it was going to happen.
We're kidding ourselves on side at this level of football. If we can't afford the right technology to come cameras, we just don't get involved with it. It's all this thing about like stadium safety. You've got to have a certain criteria of stadium to be in this league. You need to have a certain criteria of VAR to be able to use VAR in this league as well. So, you look at that. And
people that, sorry, Ryan, also, and people that understand the rules, because that one with the more in than out, or more out than in,
bonkers.
It explains that they don't even when they've got the technology, they don't know the rules.
Yeah.
Or they don't want to know the rules, I would say. That's my opinion on it. They don't want to know them. The rules change. And there's an inconsistency. The handball has changed so many times. You'd probably find if you'd done a poll with football fans, you wouldn't know what handball is anymore because it changes week to week.
They're giving handball and the boys need to hit the hand. That's the other thing. It's the ball actually literally hasn't made contact with the hand. The boys headed the ball at the park and they're giving handballs.
And now what we've got is this new rule that we were talking about a minute ago, is his eyes weren't on the ball.
Eyes weren't on the ball because the guy had his hands all over his face. How can you put your eyes in the ball when you're in a body? He's getting grabbed. Anyway, it's not a penalty kick. I don't care what anybody says. You'll never change my mind on it.
Incredible. Anyway, on to Thursday night quickly before we finish, because we've both got work to go to. Are you confident? What do you think?
I wouldn't use the word confident. That's out of order. That's not the Rangers.
You.
I do use the word confident if you think I'm going to make up the stairs to the club day. I think I'm confident about that, and that's about it.
Let me use an old saying that I think is going to dictate the game. First team to score on Thursday will win the game.
I think that's a really fair analysis on it, mate. And what are the consequences of defeat? The consequences of defeat is a Conference League playoff. Would I be right in saying that? I think it's that Jablonec and RFA. Aye, so and then we're going to get carted all over the suburbs of Europe for European competition. So we need to go out there and win the game. And then how Larne 0-0 in the first game? Is that right?
I think so. Aye.
This is the Europa League player. So
yeah, that's the last time he wants to begin into that conference, to be honest. But if they score first on Thursday night, then in my opinion, we're going into the conference. So Rangers need to. And I repeat myself saying this, we need to find a way to start scoring and getting Ibrox on. It's all right, Derek McKinnon saying use Ibrox to our benefit, but we need to give the fans something to cheer for. Yeah,
I mean, the thing about it is that we're doing our part as fans, and you see the display from the UB.
Tifo was outstanding.
It's brilliant effort. I mean, the boys put some amount of work into it, and hours spent on it, stuff like that. It's incredible. And then, that you get this DJ set now that started before the game. The boys I felt was like, this is a really good act. This is good. And they came out and they started and fine. We scored the equaliser, or the equaliser's our own goal. So then also like, come on, you know, you just feel as if everyone's going for it. You know, their songs getting sung and stuff like that. You got there, and it's just like Hibs run up the park, you scored. I just said, my pal, let's go right now. Booked. So we're doing as much as we possibly can as fans to try and motivate the players and stuff and everything that's there. The players need to get this. You know, they need to work it themselves. They need to find a way to win games.
There was great words on the banner. Great words on the banner for the team coming out, but I don't. How many of them actually read it? Because at times, in the last 4 or 5 years anyway, I would say that these players are not fighting for that jersey. They're playing. They play as individuals.
Some of the body language, some of the players in the parts, like Chermiti and Fernandes in particular, their body language whilst doing their job for me is absolutely appalling. They look as if they just could not give a monkeys. And I don't know if that's just the characters that they are, but you know, I spoke to you last year about the guys walking at the change rooms with the big headphones on and just ignored everybody and stuff like that.
Aye,
mate,
awful.
That is, for me, that's
no.
It's there. I mean, we could go on all day about this and stuff like that, the kind of characteristics and stuff of some of the guys. And this is why one of the reasons why I actually want to see Chermiti out the doors. I don't think it's a good fit for the club. Anyway.
No, I agree with that. I've made the point, Ryan, that we're going to talk about it tonight. I'll just quickly get your opinion on it, but I'm going to get the guys to talk about it on a live show tonight. Can we afford to drop Fernandes just now? Because the only thing that's keeping him in the team is the fact that he thinks he's undroppable. I'll leave you with that. Can we drop him?
And I would ask the question straight back to you for who? Who are you going to put in to replace him?
That's the problem. Maybe Sterling. Play Sterling in the tower. Maybe because sometimes you need a lesson.
I thought McCann actually was all right, to be honest. I didn't see much wrong. I thought he'd a pretty solid game. He'd done what he had to do. He looked as if he was pretty capable on the ball. He won his headers. He tracked his man when he had to. I thought his positioning was really good. I thought he was tidy on the ball. I was actually all right with McCann.
Yeah, he's one for the future, I think, and it was a hard game to come into. So I'm looking forward to see what partnership I've got in the future with him. But as much as I like Fernandes, you need to be playing for the jersey. You need to want to be on that park and you need to concentrate. And that's the things that I don't think he's doing now, mate.
So see for their second goal, he's jogged again. This stupid big jog that he does. He's jogged back into the box. Sees that boy strikes his shot. He's got his back turned. He's actually got his back turned as that boy strikes that shot. Watch it back.
It's attitude.
He's got to be standing up saying, "I'll take one the nuts for this. Come on, go for it."
For all the skill in the world, doesn't beat attitude, mate.
No, any certain. I mean, many times would you see like Butcher, Goff, Davy Weir,
Colin Henry used to do it, aye.
Palmer, all these boys say like, "I'm just going to stand in front of this. See if I get a broken nose in the back of this. My job, keys it."
Aye, and that's the type of player that I would love us to get in that team now. Anyway, mate, we're going to love you and leave you guys that are watching. Thanks for everybody watching. Like, share, and subscribe. We're back on live tonight. Ryan, have a great day, mate.
All the best, mate. We'll catch you in a bit, right?
Cheers. We are the people.
We are, mate.